CRM is very good at like tracking your customers. Revenue AI is a new category that is like way bigger. It's a blue ocean. CRM, there are hundreds of companies doing CRM. Revenue AI, there may be like 5, right? There will be more, and it's way bigger. It's replacing people's work and helping them sell. So it does the selling for you. It helps companies forecast. It helps company make people better.
Yo, it's the future. Don't hit the snooze. AI is here giving humans the boost. Team Humans rolling. Brains in the game with Dan Turchin. Y'all remember the name. People reign in the mix. No stopping the flow. Better work, better life. Yeah, we're ready to go. Robots and humans a collab, you know. Okay, let's start the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're listening. Welcome back to AI and the Future of Work. I'm your host, Dan Turchin, CEO of PeopleRain, the AI platform for IT and HR employee service. Our community is growing. If you haven't yet subscribed to the weekly newsletter, why haven't you? It's a great place to get to know some of the other listeners. The community is now over 1 million listeners. And each week we share some fun facts and tips that don't always make it into the main episode. You know, we're all in this together. I say that frequently. If you enjoyed today's conversation or any other, it is your duty to share it with just one friend. They'll know you care about using AI to make humans better. And if someone you know shared this one with you, say thanks and pay it forward. If you leave a comment, I may share it in an upcoming episode, like this one from Liam in Miami, who's the CIO of a company that sells jet fuel. Liam's favorite episode is number 314 with Mike Schuster. Great conversation. Two Sigma AI leader and legendary Google Translate pioneer on AI and finance, data, and the future of collaboration at work. We learn from AI thought leaders weekly. Of course, the added bonus, you get one AI fun fact. Here it is for today. Atul Kumar from the World Economic Forum writes about why AI is replacing some jobs faster than others. He says employees and job seekers must focus on opportunities that combine tech capabilities with human judgment and business needs. Data-dependent industries are most likely to experience AI-driven job loss first. Where data is easy to collect and analyze, job elimination will happen rapidly. Jobs at risk that fit this pattern include software engineers, customer support agents, and finance analysts. Sectors which lack data or where it's difficult to collect will be impacted more slowly. Those include healthcare, construction, and education. Of course, we will link to the full article in the show notes. My commentary: the internet obviously created far more jobs than it replaced. AI will be the same way. I did this analysis recently for human drivers. Despite the accelerating pace of self-driving cars, the industry of human passenger transportation will generate more than 100 million new jobs. That's net new jobs in the next decade, even as it replaces some jobs for Uber, taxi, and bus drivers. As new regulations emerge, we need people to define, monitor, and enforce those laws. We need urban planners, construction workers, electricians, and designers to re-architect systems that design how we live and commute. We need new technicians to program and manage these new fleets of vehicles and analyze and act on the data they'll generate. Every industry will be impacted by AI, and in every industry, ambitious humans on the right side of innovation will benefit from higher paying, safer, future-proof jobs. Of course, we'll continue that important conversation in future episodes. Now shifting to this week's awesome conversation. Amit Bendov is the co-founder and CEO of Gong, the revenue intelligence platform he started in 2015. Since then, Gong has raised more than $580 million and was most recently valued at $7.25 billion. The vision for Gong came years back when Amit left his sales team at previous companies that weren't closing as many deals as they should be, and deal reviews and CRM notes just weren't sufficient. He needed a better way to understand what customers are actually saying. Prior to Gong, Amit was CEO of business intelligence leader Sisense, and he held exec leadership roles at Panaya and Click Software. He received his BS in computer science from Tel Aviv University. He is well known and well loved for leading with heart, humility, and humor. Without further ado, Amit, it really is my pleasure to welcome you to AI and the Future of Work. Let's get started by having you share a bit more about that illustrious background and how you got into this space.
Well, how much time do we have, Dan? This is a long story. I was as a teenager, I wasn't into tech at all. I didn't have a computer. I didn't like computers. I was an average student. I wanted to be in a rock band. That was the idea. Didn't quite work out. Like maybe one day I'll still get that gig. But I was starting somewhat in the music industry and working a lot with a recording studio. And then I saw that everything was getting computerized, audio and recording, and said that's pretty cool. And that's how I signed up for computer science. Started as an engineering role, but always had both like sales roles and marketing roles. I was always curious and following my curiosity. The current company, Gong, I got the idea when having like a really terrible quarter as a CEO of a software company here in New York City, and I couldn't figure out what's going on. And I'm a computer scientist and very much into data. As much as I was analyzing data, um, I couldn't pinpoint the problem. And it dawned on me that our CRM system was telling us who bought and who didn't. So it is built for tracking customers, but it's not telling us why are we winning or how to win. So it's not built to help the sellers succeed. And if you're in sales, it's a pretty tough emotional roller coaster. It's very sad for people. Like the hit or miss is infamous, right? Half of the people don't make their numbers, and then they could lose their job. They can't pay the bills. Some can make like a lot of money, and some are struggling. Very stressful, and it doesn't have to be that way. So um, it dawned on me, and this was like 2015. All right, this is the year where AlphaGo was already beating the world champion in chess or in Go. AI was starting to diagnose cancer better than doctors, and this was still machine learning. It was a pre-Gen AI, machine learning, neural networks, and I thought, you can't blame the sellers for everything that's going on, and you can't expect them to collect the data. CRM was built that people are filling in forms, and then manager run a report. At 50,000 feet, everything looks okay or not okay, and they never really know why. So the idea was, can we use AI to collect information from data that exists in conversations with customers? In emails, in meetings, in calls, and creates really like a much better picture to both the leadership and the sellers without the effort that's required in the CRM. That was the idea that ultimately led to what is now Gong.
Amit, I would argue that you achieve your goal of becoming the head of a rock band. You're the lead singer of a rock band called Gong. And I want to know, I mentioned, you lead with heart and humility and also humor. Talk about the culture that you've intentionally built at Gong, and maybe, what some of the attributes of the culture.
Um, well, culture you can't design. Culture is what you are, right? We could say, we're humble, we're sweet talking, like whatever it is. Like if you're not, people just follow you. They follow your body language. You follow what you say, what you don't say. They read your body language to see what gets praised, what doesn't. Right. So you can't fake it, right? Some companies have their posters in their lobby or front desk, right? These are our values. So it's pretty much the personality of the founders, right? The combined. And at Gong, we recognize that. And when we started to grow, I think we're about 70 people, and we knew that we're going to be growing. We're growing pretty quickly, and there is this like magic number of at 120, like people stop knowing each other. So let's write and document our operating principles, right? What does it mean to work at Gong? Um, we didn't put things like integrity and humility and being nice. Those are like obvious to us, right? I mean, they shouldn't be stated. This is so there's things that are unique to Gong and aren't necessarily right or wrong, right? So For example, we have one of the favorite people, operating principle people like. They're all on a website, by the way. You can read them. They're still is like no sugar, right? If there's a problem, we want to know about it, right? Just like sugar coating doesn't help solve problems. So it's just be. It doesn't mean being nasty, but just tell us like what it is, like quickly, so we can solve the problem. You could build a perfectly good company with a lot of sugar, right? So it's not a right or wrong, but these are uniques. And there's like raving fans. So if you talk about the rock bands, we want people to rave about Gong. I was like, I kid you not, I was working in New York City like last week, and within 48 hours, like 4 customers stopped me. Oh, you work for Gong? I love Gong. They didn't know who I am, right? But you just saw the brand and the logo. So raving fans, we don't want just happy customers. We want like people that are actually raving. That's a culture. No sugar. And you ask about humility. We have something like called enjoy the ride. Now, what it means is that like we're dead serious about our work. Like we're extremely competitive, ambitious, don't get me wrong, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. Right? Just keep it real. We're very flat. We also have an operating principle, no royalty. So you'll see me in our office. I often, when I don't have like private calls, I sit with the SDRs in the same desk. Everybody can approach everybody. You don't need to go to your 3 managers to talk to anyone. So I hope that everybody is very approachable. So these are just some, but and it's not the only way to run a company. There are companies that work in different way. There are leaders in tech companies that aren't super nice, right? And they're equally successful, if not more. But this is our choice. So culture is how you act.
It's working for you. And like you said, the team looks to you, right? They look to who's being praised. They look to your body language, and just being intentional, knowing that those are the signals that dictate the culture is important. I remember back to the time, probably shortly after 2015, when it was Gong and Chorus, and there was a variety of other kind of early entrants in this kind of sales coaching or sales note-taking space. I think you'd agree. There was a sense of apprehension about using them. It maybe even seemed a little creepy. Am I going to get blamed? Is this just a management control technique? And now you would argue just the opposite. I mean, I want to be better as a seller, right? I want the coaching. Increasingly, I think we're aware that there's rich context that AI can come up with. But talk me through the transition from it feeling foreign and even maybe creepy to where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, it is still present. Obviously, today there are a lot more that to say I would not work at a place that doesn't have Gong or something like Gong, right? Those that have got used to it. But it's still sometimes an acquired taste for people. Once people taste it, it's very addictive and hard to go back. But we remember the vision of the company was to give visibility to the leadership, why are people successful or why are they not successful, but also to the seller. So CRM was built for the leaders. Or if I'm a seller, I need to fill in, here are my opportunities, what happened, the meeting notes. I need to update my manager all the time. This doesn't help me in any way, right? So I do it so the leadership can roll up their reporting and forecasts, right? Just inherently, it was designed to track customers, not to help the sellers. So we've built quite a bit for the sellers themselves. So it prepares them for meetings. They don't need to take notes. Remember that yellow pads, right? That you had to write notes all the time. So you can't really focus on a conversation. That's gone, right? So we built quite a bit since the early days. So it outweighs the little discomfort that they feel initially. And they do feel like it feels a little weird, right? Oh, now everybody can see what I'm doing, right? Today it's not everybody, it's not the entire company. There's like departments, but within your team, for example, your manager, they can know. But that's the whole idea. It saves the collaboration, it's like an open space, right? That everybody can learn from each other. And there's so much value. Today, Gong will write your emails, it does your follow-ups, it prepares you for meetings, it updates your managers. You don't need to do a forecast, you don't need to update the CRMs. Who would want to go back to the old ways? There is so much value, and now there are hundreds of thousands of people using it. The word spreads, and people see, it'll be foolish not to use it.
For the one Gong that exists, there have probably been, there are the carcasses of 1,000 other companies that claimed the end of CRM, and we're out to spell the death of Salesforce that failed. What have you done differently?
This is silly. Our goal is not to end CRM. Even if we wanted to, this is a massive category, highly valuable. So we're not looking to replace. There'll be, there are 200 companies trying to do that. Why would Gong be successful? So this is silly. CRM is very good at tracking your customers. Revenue AI is a new category that is way bigger. It's a blue ocean. CRM, there are hundreds of companies doing CRM. Revenue AI, there may be 5, right? There will be more, and it's way bigger. It's replacing people's work and helping them sell. So it does the selling for you. It helps companies forecast. It helps company make people better. So this is a new category. Just like CRM did not replace ERP, SAP is still a massive business, right? Doesn't matter how old they are, right? They're not going away. CRM isn't going away, and people underestimate how much value and complexity is in a CRM. It's not easy to build, and our forte is AI, and we build system that automatically monitors what's going on and creates value for both the sellers and help companies sell more. So yeah, anybody trying to unseat Salesforce, good luck.
So 10 years ago, I got to imagine the vision for an AI first product was very different. Now, nobody would dispute the value of AI and incorporate it into a solution like Gong, but I got to imagine that 10 years ago, it either took a lot of vision to think about how to use AI, or maybe it wasn't as central to the product design. How was your thinking about where and how to use AI changed?
It was at the core. The vision was an autonomous application that is situationally aware. It sees what's going on with the customer. It monitors your conversation and the data that comes from the CRM. Always come up with advice and helps you achieve your goal. So it knows your goal. Let's say if I'm a seller, my goal is $200,000 this quarter. Is okay, you're here, here are the opportunities. It'll come up with advice. So even the concept of co-pilot, we called it assist. I have sketches from 2016 and 2017. So we first saw it before the technology even existed. We felt that this will be bigger, AI will be bigger than SaaS, that people will pay for consumption and not, I have it all in records. It was so out there, right, that we struggled to raise money. People didn't see it was. We had to hide AI, not totally secretive about it, but it was if you go to a website, it'll be a third click, because we sell to non-technical users, and if you spoke about AI too much. Gong had a vision, 2016, 2017, autonomous revenue management system. That uses both prediction, analysis of interaction, and assistance to sellers. Before the technology, generative AI did not exist. Even the famous Google paper that started the transformer things was written 2017 or around that time. So we're using machine learning, we're using neural networks, other predictive models. We're thrilled now that first the world wants AI, is excited, and the technology is much better that we can complete our vision.
So on one hand, I'd imagine the prevalence, the maturity of AI accelerates your ability to innovate, but it also makes everyone a competitor. Every cloud, wants to build apps, and everyone, your use case is so obvious. And so on one hand, you had an unfair advantage when you had a vision for AI when it was harder to build an AI first business. But do you see it as, is it getting harder or easier to maintain your lead given the state of AI?
Neither harder nor easier. So my assumption is that we'll always competition, and competition will always get like harder. So we have to progress and innovate, right? Or we'll be dead, right? So we're not invulnerable, and we're not different than any other company. We just have to be ahead. There's so many people that people predicted our death, right? There's like some of the companies that you named, or all these companies now they feature all these like note takers, right? And CRM will do that. Now, when GPT came out, okay, everybody can do that, right? So we're doing. So the rumors have been somewhat exaggerated. We're doing extremely well. Gong is one of the fastest growing company at our size, like not in a category, like in technology in general. And you just have to keep innovating. So we have over 10 years built a substantial moat, right? And this is our platform that has like 3 layers. The revenue graph, this is the data that you collect, all the data from accounts, interactions, outcomes, right? And that provides the foundation for proper AI. On top of that, there are models. Some we use obviously for tasks that they're good at. We use some of the public LLMs, but we also have a small language model. We have predictive models. We have machine learning for some of the other things. So we have about 40 models of our own, and we use like each for whatever they're good. And then there's the application, our tailored workflows, both for agents and humans that are tuned to the user. So anybody can build something. It'll take like an insane effort to build all this, and just the revenue graph, the applications, the workflow. There's a lot of details that we've been building over 10 years, and we're doubling down. So you remember, like people asking, what's your ideal company, right? That to me, it's the Beatles, right? Remember my background. I always tell the team that what's great about them. Obviously, they're like extremely successful, right? But like if you listen to the music, like almost like every 2 years, it was like a new band. Just the music from like 63 to like 70, totally different, right? And I said, what I wish ourselves that every 2 years will be a new company that will reinvent ourselves. And if we stand still, we're done. So we have to keep moving and pushing, and we're investing in engineering pretty heavily and customers. And so, there will be more competition, and we have to keep innovating, but it's not harder or easier. It's always like you always have to compete.
It's a good analogy because you're the spitting image of John Lennon.
Really? Oh, that's the best thing that I've heard like in 10 years.
You could tell your wife that.
Yeah.
I won't insult her. I'm sure she's not like Yoko Ono, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So much of what you do, I would imagine, is predicated on building trust with sellers. And the data that they're willingly sharing with, storing in Gong, they need to trust you as a partner, as a vendor. We all are painfully aware that AI makes mistakes. How do you think about building trust with sellers and being good stewards of their data and not making them feel like maybe whatever Gong learns, could be used to outsource them later or used to fire them? How do you think about that obligation?
Yeah, it's a good question. It goes on many levels. First, we have to be secure and trusted, period, right? We store some of the companies and the sellers like most sensitive information. Sometimes they could talk about personal stuff, right? Sometimes it's definitely company confidential. So we just appointed a chief trust officer at Gong, Chris Peak, who joined us, especially because we know that trust is fundamental to Gong. It's important to every company, but for us, like even more so, right? We touch like very sensitive data. Second, we build so much goodness for the sellers themselves, right? And they get a lot from it. So there's a bit like a give and get. And you have to understand that the best sellers are team players, right? So they want to share with other teams. I see a lot of the things that are happening on our internal channels at Gong. People share with each other. So they do share techniques and all that. Gong just does it automatically. And I don't think like sellers will go away like anytime soon, barring some extreme scenarios. Some say AI will demolish humanity. In this case, it was nice meeting you all. Um, the goal is to help the sellers to take away the stuff that they hate. Like they don't like updating records. They don't like updating their managers. They don't like doing the forecast. They don't like sifting through a list. They just like to talk to people and help people, right? That's what they enjoy doing. So we take all the drudgery away and leave them with the stuff that is the fun stuff for people in that profession.
I recently had a conversation on the podcast with a gentleman named Grant Lee, who's the CEO of a company called Gamma, which is out to replace SharePoint. So 0 to 50 million in less than ARR in less than a year with a team of 30 people. So pretty impressive. And I asked him about his perspective on finding market fit. So obviously unique perspective. I think anyone would would argue that he found it. But so did you. And just curious to get a sense of in the early days, how you kind of poked around and what does it feel like when you find product market fit?
It feels great. So we didn't get to like 50 million like that quickly, but we launched Gong like early 2016, and we begged and bribed like a dozen company that would do us a favor and agree to kick the tires. We didn't think about selling. We just wanted to get enough data so we can train the AI models. This is in 2016. To use it for free, and we'll use it to train our models. But then we saw that people were actually using the product. I was monitoring the logs like every day. In the morning, I'd come and do this thing and see what people are doing, like what they're clicking, why they're clicking, and we learned quite a bit from that. And we started fine tuning a little bit. And then around April, usage was getting like pretty decent, right? And I was speaking with my co-founder Elon. So like, you know what? Let's do a little like experiment. Let's ask for money and see what happens, right? And we'll know. Like either people say yes, which is very unlikely, or they'll say no, right? In which the more interesting question, okay, like if no, like what would it take to get to a yes, right? What's missing, right? So we just want to know what's valuable. So we reached out to all the people that did us a favor, and I wrote them an email. It says, "Hey, everyone, beta is over. Sorry, it's time to pay." And we charged something that wasn't outrageous, but also wasn't trivial. We wanted to be like somewhat painful to see what happens. And it was like 30,000, 50,000. Everybody hated us in bulk, but 11 out of 12 bought, right? Immediately. So it says, okay, like this is like the product was as is. It doesn't do even like 5% of what we're doing right now. So then I knew, okay, that's a great sign. And again, I don't know how massive this could be, but we could build like at least like a decent company. And these are again people that we know. The next step would be total strangers, right? Not friends and family, but people that are random strangers. And we had those coming like pretty quickly. I went to like an event in Chicago. I was like staffing the desk, which is like a table with tablecloth, and I had the logo designed and the T-shirt. And someone saw the demo, says, "Yeah, we need that." So I said, "Okay, now we're good." It was pretty fast.
I've heard you tell a version of that, and it still, gives me chills. Anyone who hasn't been a raw entrepreneur can glamorize what it's like in the early days, but so much wisdom there. The begging and the pleading, and and the CEO, waking up to review the logs. And I always say, the mark of product, the mark of product market fit is when, if you pull it from, pull the plug from the wall, so to speak, who's going to mutiny, right? Who cares? Who notices? And
Right.
you
This,
live that.
this is a technique, just kind of like almost like anti-selling, right? If you think about, think about changing diapers, right? That's how exciting it is. The baby is exciting, but you do need to change diapers and a lot of things that, ultimately it's a lot of fun.
It's a good analogy, but you have faith that if you change enough diapers, the kid's going to grow up, and it's worth it, right? It's worth the
Well,
journey.
with kids, they always grow up. Startups, something they don't, right? You stay with whatever is in the diapers. But yeah, you got to be able to roll your sleeves, right? I've seen with someone, the first thing you do is hire like an EA and consultants, all of that. That's not like what.
No, it's hustle. It's just pure hustle. And
Yeah.
some days you feel like you're 2 inches tall and the world is out to get you. And
Yeah.
you're resilient, you believe, you wake up the next morning, and lo and behold, you're 10 feet tall the next day. And
Yeah.
So I got to get you off the hot seat. We're about out of time, but I want to build on that. I got to ask you one last question, if you bear with me here. So many people that know today's Gong might look at Amit and the team and say, "Oh, it's an overnight success." It just, of course, it was just brilliant execution, but that's not usually the case. Talk us through, maybe you must have had at least one kind of near-death experience, or something where it really tested your mettle. What were the tough times like?
Well, more like 5,000 like overnight successes, right? We certainly had tough moments. Overall, I can't complain. I've heard like worse stories, right? So our story first is like fairly linear. The vision that we had, like when we founded the company, is still what it is. I could take the ugly deck from like 2016, the pitch deck. It will not look great, but it'll not be far off from where we are. So this is like we're not a company that started with like we haven't pivoted. So it's the same vision that we had, and we're marching towards that. We did have, obviously 2020 was a tough year, right? All of a sudden, the world almost came to a complete halt, right? In February, and we navigated it pretty well. Then we had like incredible time after that, like a lot of companies with the ZERP period where people were just buying. And then like early 2023, we hit a rough patch. Our growth really slowed down because like many of our customers, we had many technology companies like in our customers, and that sectors was hit hard with the interest rate. People overbought like in anticipation of growth, and then they downgraded, right? So they bought like 150 in anticipation of growth, and then they ended up like 63, right? So and it was like very very tough. So we're definitely our growth like slowed. We were like one of the fastest growing companies, and all of a sudden we hadn't. So it took a lot of like patience, like rolling your sleeves, understanding what are the issues. And some of it, we've lost some of our muscle tissue, right, when times were super good. So we had to like reorganize, rebuild, improve our game, get fit again. And so that was like a pretty difficult period. But I've been like in 99, 2008, 2020. You always have to make sure that people see that, listen, I don't know how long this is going to last, but it will end. And the good companies ultimately succeed. And we have seen like acceleration is unbelievable. So every quarter after this, like for I think it's like 9 consecutive quarters, growth is accelerating. It's not that we're growing, that the rate is actually growing, the second derivative, right? So and that's now everybody's excited and don't remember, but you got to be ready. Like if you think about a company, people's, oh, it's a rocket ship, right? Think more like a roller coaster. Like it's a closer metaphor. It could get scary time, but in the end, like you're going to be okay.
Quite a first decade. Now you're on to decade number 2.
Yeah.
Amit, this has been a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this one, and you didn't disappoint. Where can the audience learn more about you and the work that Gong's doing?
Well, you could definitely go to our site. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm the dude with the glasses, right? There aren't like too many of us out there, and feel free to reach out if you have like questions. I'll be happy to chat.
Brilliant. Amit, pleasure to meet you. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that is all the time we have for this week on AI and the future of work. As always, I'm your host, Dan Turchin from People Rain, and we'll be back next week with another fascinating guest.
Yo, it's the end of the show, time to power it down. AI's the sis, but humans wear the crown. Team Human in the house, got the vibe so clever. Dan Turchin from People Rain, making us better. We learned about AI for humans. We're ready to conquer the future, that's all for now. See you next time.